Hello, YouTubers. Nick Palkowski here from Live Action Production, and welcome to our very first ever comments and question stream here on. We do these every single week, or we're going to be doing these every week on Thursday. And before we jump into our main question of the day, which, just to kind of let you all know, our big question is, should you be going live while podcasting, or is it best just to do your podcast pre-recorded and go live at a separate time, or not go live at all? We're going to answer that question here on this edition of the comments and questions stream, but I just wanted to first kind of let you know what's going on. If you're not a regular member of or subscriber to this channel, first I want to encourage you to go subscribe to the channel, hit that little subscribe button, hit the like on this video, and be sure to hit the little notification bell so that you don't miss a single one. Because what's going to be happening here is I have much longer videos on kind of the update for this channel, but moving forward every single week on Thursdays, I'm going to be doing one of these comments and questions streams where basically it's going to be a little more of an informal stream where I'm going to go live just wherever I happen to be and answer your questions and comments from the previous week, or from emails, or just comments and stuff that has been left on other videos here on the YouTube channel. Now, just to give you a little bit more of a background, for the longest time, this channel has really been focused just around podcasting. So that's part of where this stream, this question comes in. So we've been very focused on podcasting, how you can grow a business through podcasting with weekly shows, things like that. I started another business, kind of a second business called Live Action Production. And that's what we're really going to be focusing here moving forward, is how you can use live streaming as a part of your content creation in order to grow your local referral-based business, how weekly shows will matter, how you can actually build an audience around your business based off of a local community. So many people out there are talking about online business in the very broad sense, the very global sense, which is awesome. Definitely an application. It's great. Live video, content creation, online marketing in general is great for getting sales for, say, online courses and digital products. But what I don't see enough people talking about is how live video especially can really impact a business in just their local community, in helping build that know, like, and trust factor, because that's one of those things that live video really does extremely well, is help people get to know who you are, know more about you, especially when it's done the right way. And that's what I want to try and address any of your questions on a weekly basis here on Thursdays, usually about 4 or 5 Central Standard Time. But these are going to be very informal streams. They're not necessarily going to be scheduled, so that's why you want to be sure to be subscribed to the channel, click the notification bell, so you get notified of when those happen. But with that said, let's dive into our question for the week, which this question comes in, let me pull it up here, from the Motherhood Radio. And it was a comment that was left on one of the previous videos that were uploaded to this channel, all about is part of the podcasting the podcasting 5-day get started podcasting challenge. This was left as a comment on one of those, and it's from the Motherhood Radio. I have been doing local public radio for years now. Getting a podcast going, do you suggest the live cast versus a pre-recorded cast? And so I want to just kind of address that in terms of, should you be live streaming your podcast? And obviously there's going to be a little bit of a caveat here, in that it totally depends. The most important thing, I think, is that you are comfortable with, if you're going to try and do a live stream of your podcast, you want to make sure that you are comfortable doing live streaming, because ultimately what's going to matter the most is that you deliver great content. That's always going to be kind of flat out the biggest thing, especially when you're going to then be producing, say, a podcast. The reason this is because podcasts generally need to have a little bit higher audio quality, and they need to deliver on the content that you're promising. And then you also will need to be thinking about, okay, how visual is my live stream? That's going to be one of the big questions that you need to kind of decide. Is my live stream going to be very visual? Do I want to create a full-on live show where I'm showing graphics and showing people around my studio or showing specific things with the camera? If so, then you're likely going to not want to do a live stream while recording your podcast. It's just not going to be a great fit because of it. You can do a video podcast, but though the numbers on video podcasts are extremely low, they're growing, but they're still pretty low compared to, say, audio podcasts. And I'm going to assume that that's what you were talking about specifically. And by the way, let me know if you're watching this at some point. Let me know what your actual name is, the Motherhood Radio, so I can actually talk to you as a real person. But what you want to really consider is what is the experience of both the live stream viewer and then the podcast. And you're also going to want to think about, okay, which is my main platform? Is it that live stream viewer or is it that podcast viewer? It is perfectly fine if you decide to go one way or the other. If you are going with the audio, you're going to need to set up your live stream viewers a little bit and have some information out there and kind of prep them that you need to be delivering these content in kind of chunks. One of the mistakes I see people making when they try to do both is that they are stopping to answer comments or really engaging with their live streaming audience. And that can play very weird in just audio only format. I think it can be done correctly, but it takes a little bit of planning. It takes some getting used to. It just takes some being comfortable with being on live and kind of just the flow of your show. I am, however, so with some of those caveats there, I'm a big fan of doing a live streaming show and then turning it into a podcast. Podcasting is an amazing tool and is something that it's a medium that I really love. It's a medium that I've been doing for the last 5 years. That's really where the business has been built, is through providing that high quality audio podcast and doing that as a service for other people. We kind of take care of all the behind the scenes so they can just focus in on the content. But I think there's a huge place for having that live stream show be the creation of that audio podcast content. And the way that it's going to look is that you are going to be very focused on delivering solid information in a way that flows very smoothly for both the live stream and the podcast audio listener. So that means you're not necessarily going to be able to always stop and just address a certain way at any point in time in your stream. But when you do it right, I think it's absolutely possible to do both. And I think that is a really a great way to build both platforms and to build a solid audience how they want to consume your content. Because ultimately, I think that's what we need to do as content creators, as business owners, as, say, that local business who is trying to build an audience. You need to meet your audience where they are. So if they prefer to listen in just an audio format, in a podcasting format, you need to have content for them there. If they prefer to jump on a live stream, see your face, interact with you, you should have content there. But you need to think about how does that look on both platforms. We work with clients to help create that weekly show. And by weekly show, I am specifically now really focused in on that live streaming show. How can we create a weekly show that's going to get them moving, that's going to get them traction with their audience? So what that will look like is taking that weekly live stream show and then also putting it in as a podcast as well. And we're using all of the things I've learned over the years in order to grow a podcasting audience. We're still using that. A lot of our weekly live streaming show people, our clients, we're still producing a podcast for them. Pretty much all of them, if they are a weekly show subscriber. We do a few events as well. We don't do podcasts for the events just because it doesn't make sense. But for the weekly show people, we then turn that into a weekly podcast as well. And we often see higher numbers of downloads on the audio podcast than we do the actual live stream. Lots of different reasons for that, but iTunes is a great platform, and then we have strategies in place to really help grow that platform. But what you need to consider, some of the fallbacks, some of the mistakes that we see people making is constantly stopping and addressing the audience and really just saying, oh, great comment, oh, I see, oh, hi Dan, great to meet you, awesome, nice having you here, thanks for joining, those kinds of things, and that just makes the audio experience horrible for your listeners. It's fine for the live audience, they enjoy that, it's a great chance to hang out with them and connect, but then for the audio people, it just can be really difficult to listen to. So what I think you need to do is, if you are very serious podcast episode, having really no interaction or engagement with your audience for that podcasting segment, do a little bit of a setup with your live streaming audience. So, you talk to them, engage, interact with them, do a pre-show. If you want to do like a 5-minute pre-show where it's all about just creating engagement with your audience, that's going to be a great way to kind of get some of that engagement out. And then you can jump in to your actual podcast content. Do a full-on hook, do everything that you would for your normal podcast recording, and then just kind of deliver that content. And if you're someone that right now maybe doesn't have a live streaming audience or has very little engagement with your live streaming audience, I would really focus in on, okay, let me deliver this podcast content in a way that's going to be great for the podcast. So full on recording the audio and just deliver the content like I would if I was just by myself recording and just kind of have the live stream there in the background. Now, that is not the best. That's not going to be necessarily super engaging for your live streaming audience, but it will get you great content, and eventually you're going to start building a live audience, and that will slowly start to grow. And then once you get to kind of that point, then I think it's time to, okay, let's start addressing the live stream audience in a seamless, smooth way. And what that's going to look like is potentially having that pre-show that would then get podcast, but most likely that's going to look like, okay, let's dive into the show, do the hook, the normal hook that you would do, maybe do your bumper, have your bumper play, and then let's set things up. Who are you? Let's kind of do the intro, and then deliver your first major point of content, and kind of get that section out there, and then take a pause and ask some sort of question where you want engagement from your audience. And ideally, you're going to have a way for your podcasting audience to engage with as well. It's going to be after the fact, absolutely, but you're going to ask for comments. You're going to give them the link to your show notes page. And I like to actually set up that show notes page even before we go live on a live stream, because and you can do this even with Facebook or with YouTube. If you're going live on either, especially if you scheduled it, you can, or if you have somebody else who can assist you, you can actually embed that live stream into your video, into the blog post, so that the video is also playing on your show notes page live as you're going. I think that's the best. I think that's the smoothest way. You're not necessarily going to get a lot of traffic there, but that way, if you do any calls to action in your live stream, say, hey, head on over to liveactionproduction.com/007 to get our platform comparison guide. And then even a live stream viewer can head over to that URL, and they're still going to see it there. It's going to be live. They're going to be able to get that opt-in, and that's really going to be the most seamless way to kind of transition everything. But what you need to think about is, okay, what points in my content delivery am I going to pause, and am I going to engage with my live streaming audience? And at what points in my content delivery am I going to ask for engagement? Am I going to ask them to comment? Am I going to ask them to say, hey, let me know, have you ever gone live before? Leave a comment on this video and let me know. Leave a comment at the blog post. Let me know. And then when you start to get comments or feedback, you are going to actually read those out. That's going to be best practice for anything, because a lot of times, even if people are watching your live stream, they might not necessarily be in your live stream. They're not necessarily be fully focused on the screen the entire time. They might be doing dishes, they might be eating, they might be doing something else, working on their computer while they have you kind of off to the side, just kind of off to the side, kind of viewing as they're busy typing something. So at that point, that's when you want to be sure to read those comments. When you start getting to more highly produced weekly show, you can start bringing the comments across in lower thirds. Like in this setting right now, I can't do that because I'm going live from the phone. But again, I wanted to keep this very informal. However, if you start coming back and check out our weekly show, which is live and local, where we focus really on training and things like that, we do have the ability, that is most of the time, probably 90% of the time, in studio, potentially with guests, but it's going to most likely be in the studio where we have our full production system set up, where we can actually bring those comments across on the screen. And that's really great for engagement. That's really great for connecting with people, and just a great way to interact with your viewers and keep that engagement high. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of an idea of what you need to think about. Most likely, many of you, if you're just starting out, what you're going to be doing in terms of live streaming your content is you're going to either like have your phone or some other setup and just have that kind of off to the side, kind of say off in the wings while you have your mic up close and you are recording your doing your podcasting content normally, and then check in on the live stream. When you kind of get to some of those next levels, that might be adding something like a Mevo, where you can do some different angles with your camera to kind of make the stream a little more engaging while you're still recording your main podcast content. And then even that next level, you can start to bring in specific webcams or even other higher quality cameras and have more of a production. Use something like Ecamm, or even step it up and have a dedicated machine to be running your live stream. So that hopefully gives you an idea of a few things you can think about. I absolutely think recording a podcast while live streaming is possible. It's great. If you want to check out more of it, I was just going to try and look to see which episode that was. We did an episode where I actually live streamed for the live and local show while we recorded a different podcast. So it wasn't like really focused on creating engagement with the live stream. It was more about recording a podcast, but this might give you a great idea of what you can do. I believe, let me double check here which episode it was. Not that episode. Maybe episode 6. It was episode 4. So episode 4 of Live and Local, which you can find at liveactionproduction.com/004. That is going to be kind of show you a little bit of a behind the scenes of what it's like to record a podcast while live streaming, and how you can have some different camera angles, different things like that, how it can actually potentially look for you as a local business who wants to get started podcasting and also send it out on a live stream. This is going to be multiple camera angles. We're not necessarily bringing on comments because this podcast specifically wasn't quite ready that we were recording to, wasn't ready to have comments integrated into the show yet. But I'll be sure to, in a future video here, actually do one of those where we are recording a podcast that does have a decent audience, and show that to you here for the live action production in a future episode. But really, that's what I wanted to kind of address on today's this first episode of our comments and questions stream. Again, I am going to be live every single Thursday. No necessarily set time. It's usually going to be around this kind of 4 to 5 time frame. Other exciting piece that I'm going to be doing here with this show is I want to be doing a giveaway every week, and the prizes are going to vary, but we're going to run a giveaway that we'll announce on the live show here every single week on Thursdays. And in order to enter that giveaway, just simply head over to liveactionproduction.com/giveaway. You'll get taken to a page. You can do a few different things. There's a few different ways to enter, from subscribing to the show, to the YouTube channel, to commenting on certain things, to liking certain pages. There'll be multiple ways that you can actually enter that drawing, but you'll need to be live. You'll need to be here on our Thursday show and we'll announce the winners. And if you're there, you're going to win the prize, and we'll kind of announce the prize every week. This first week, I'll just kind of tell you this first week, it's going to be a 30-minute consulting call. So if you want to talk about how you can get started with live video, or how you can grow your local business with live video, 30-minute consulting call we're giving away. Normally those are usually run around $500, but you're going to get one of those for free, just to get you started, hopefully get you off on the right foot, answer any questions that you possibly have, and just dedicated to helping you create a solid plan that you can then go execute. And again, we'll be doing those giveaways weekly. You just have to be live in order to win, and that is at liveactionproduction.com/giveaway. And we'll keep this one super short, but I just want to thank you for tuning in. Hopefully you are enjoying some of the new content. We are now going to be releasing videos on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. So Mondays is going to be and the Monday and the Thursday exclusive to YouTube. So those videos are not going to be anywhere else. They're just going to be here for you guys as YouTube followers, as YouTube subscribers. And so I'm super excited about that, because I haven't put much focus in on the YouTube channel, and I'm very excited to be diving in and really putting that focus in on you guys, because I think there's a lot. I'm loving the direction that YouTube is taking their live video. I think they are going to be a huge player, even more so than they are right now. This is definitely the spot that you think of when you think of recorded video, but I think very soon this is going to be the main spot for live video. Facebook is nice because it generally has a little bit more engagement, a little more interaction, but YouTube is going to be the spot that is going to be most beneficial for most local businesses. So if you are a restaurant, if you are a realtor, financial planner, CPA, lawyer, any sort of small business, a gym, you should be looking at going live on YouTube, and how that can actually boost your watch time, how that can boost your SEO, and how that can really grow your business. And that's what we're going to be talking about every single week here, 3 times a week. So be sure to hit that subscribe button, and thank you for tuning in to our very first episode of Question and Answer, Comments and Question Thursday. I need to think of a better name for this. So let me know if you have a better name for this Thursday show. I'm not yet sure what it's going to be, but thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you on Monday.